Chapter 10. Note. At the end of my second day of school, I go to my locker to pick up my umbrella because it was raining outside, and I have an umbrella stored in my locker in case I need it. When I opened my locker, a note came flying out that was covered in dust, and it landed in my hands. I never saw this note in my locker, and I made sure it was clean before I chose it. I opened the note, and it read like this. Dear Marcus, a.k.a. Dr. Marcacius, this is the first of 3 riddles I'm going to provide you and your brothers. The first riddle is, what is a synonym for the second idea? Sincerely, the return. So I wasn't threatened. I was just freaked out by the fact who or whatever is to return knew my name. I was also freaked out that the note ended up in my locker, but then I realized it was inserted through the vents at the top of the door, which is why it ended up so dusty. I don't want this to get in the hands of my mother, because I know she would go crazy protective over me, and that would cause the police to get involved, and I also know that my mom wouldn't be the return, because this letter was handwritten, and my mom only handwrites her signatures and nothing else, and I could tell that this signature was not in her handwriting. I then tucked the note into a secure pocket in my backpack and took off like lightning to Kimball to catch the next Brown Line train to the Loop. Unfortunately, the train was pulling out when I scanned myself in, and it was 10 minutes until the next one, but I was covered in sitting in the train station the whole time. After we took off, it was about 20 minutes until we got to Belmont, which is in my eyes about halfway to Harold Washington Library State in Van Buren. The station is shared with the red and purple line on weekdays during rush hour. When we pulled into the station, the doors opened and we had the usual passenger exchange, but the doors didn't shut. That was when a man recorded on the intercom said, "We are experiencing a delay," and then the conductor said it was going to be 10 minutes before we got moving again. I didn't have 10 minutes, but just to my luck, a red line train toward 9050 and Ryan was pulling in, so I catched it and rode it to Jackson. And the convenient thing is, I was able to do it with my hood down because it was the red line. After I arrived in Jackson, I took off like lightning and ran into my room in Robbinsog and locked up the door. I sat curled up in a ball on my bed in panic, and then I heard a knock on my door. Who is it? I asked. George answered. I then opened the door and let George in and locked it when I shut the door. Do you have homework? I asked. No, I'm only in kindergarten, George answered back. Stay in here, don't move. Okay. Okay, I went to the restroom at school, said George, being a little thinker. I then stood by the door until Sam arrived, when he knocked on the door to Robbinsog 10 minutes later. Sam, is that you? I asked. Yes, Sam said through the door. I then let Sam in through the door and locked it. This door is never locked. Why did you lock it? Sam asked. Because my privacy has been invaded, I said to Sam. I then showed Sam and George the note. So how was your privacy invaded? Sam asked. It was probably Mom, George said. It was not Mom. This is not her handwriting. How do you know? Or you see her handwriting is her signature? Sam asked. Well, let me ask you this. Is Mom obvious? I asked. Well, what do you mean? George asked. No, answered Sam. So, you are saying that you don't know Mom's next move? I asked. Correct, said Sam. That is why it can't be Mom, because I can't say Mom did this, because if I knew she she would do this, that would be obvious. Mom is not obvious, I said. I understand that, but obvious is the wrong word to use, said Sam. We then heard the door to Robbinsog-The open, and we heard our mom singing along to some Meatloaf song. Let's test that theory. Does the test involve me? George asked. Yes. Can you please ask your mother if she stuck a note in my locker at school? I asked. Sure, George answered. Make sure you shut the door when you are out so that she won't catch us spying on this with our ears, I said. Okay, said George. George then left and shut the door. Me and Sam then put our ears up on the door. 3 minutes later, we realized we wasted 3 minutes of our lives because the whole conversation was muffled through the door and we couldn't hear a thing. What took you so long? Sam asked. I take it you dealt with personal matters too? I asked. Yes and yes. We couldn't hear what she said. Can you tell us what she said? I asked. She said she would never do that to you because she could be fired for having in-session contact with you, said George. She said it to me before that as an employee during the school day, she can't talk to me at all or she would be fired. So this is proof it was not Mom, I said quietly. Does that mean we are being followed? George asked. It means, well, specifically, I am being stalked, I said. Stalked? George asked. It is the term used in law enforcement for followed, Sam explained to George. It is illegal, too, I said. Try Hannah. If it is not her, then somebody is breaking the law on us, said George. Hannah is in law school, and I don't really want to bother her, I said. Our safety is at risk, yelled Sam. Sam was right. I then called Hannah. Hello? Hannah asked from the phone. Hannah, it is Dr. Marcacius. Is it possible for me to talk to you for 5 minutes at Jackson Station tonight? I asked through the phone. I'm not going to be able to catch a train today. I'm home right now doing homework because a busy day is expected at the board tomorrow. Can we discuss this over the phone? No, I need to see you in person. Can you come see me and leave after 9 tonight? Yes. Can you meet at Howard Station near where you live? Yeah, I live a 3-minute walk from there. Okay, I'll see you then. You too. I then hung up. Why couldn't you tell her over the phone? Sam asked. I can tell it when people are lying, but not through the phone. I need to see her in person, I said. So that way, if she is lying, you know it? George said. Correct. Can we come too to meet her? George asked. No, I want you two and Mom and Dad to meet her at the same time, and Mom and Dad will gather suspicion if I take you out that late and go for that four of you. The next bit was not I was not expecting. I want to go! George screamed, throwing a temper tantrum, crying. Sam then covered George's mouth because he knew I didn't want Mom to gather suspicion. I'll talk it over with Mom, I said. I then left the room. I'll talk it over with Mom, I said. I then left the room to go talk to my mother. Good earlier evening, Mother. I haven't talked with you today, I said. What's up, she asked. There were 2 things I feel like you should know. 1, I need to run an errand tonight just after 9 to the vicinity of Howard Station. Can I take Sam and George along? No! What do you need to go to Howard Station for? Personal matters? Okay, how long will you be gone? An hour and a half tops. I am not even going to leave the station. I just need to be there. 2? George is showing a temper tantrum right now, but Sam has it under control. Okay, I'm glad you boys matured. That's all, Mom. I gotta go. I then re-entered our room. I then re-entered our room and Sam was still trying to calm down George. Sorry, George, the answer is no. George then tried to scream, but Sam covered his mouth. Then he began to punch and kick George. Are you doing okay? I asked softly. Yes, you know I've handled him before, Sam said. Good, I said softly. Should we discipline him if it hurts me? If he hurts me, Sam asked. No, we have enough problems already. He just needs to calm down, I said. It was about 3 minutes before he calmed down.